Hello, my name is Aaron Park, and this is 7th grade, lesson 15. So for our first problem, Andy bought 2.5 kilograms of apples, priced at $3.20 per kilogram. How much did Andy pay for his purchase? So this is a simple multiplication problem, because we have an amount of apples that he bought, and we know that it is $3.20 per kilogram. So we just need to multiply these values, because this is kilogram, and this is dollars per kilogram. And if we multiply this, then we will get our final answer of $8. Yes, $8, which is D. Next, solve the problem below and mark the correct answer. So it's another multiplication problem. We can see that there's a negative number here and a positive number here, which means that the final answer is going to be negative. So it can't be these positive choices. And now it is either this or that, and we'll just have to do the math to find out. And if you multiply it out, you get that negative 0.6 times 4.3 is about 2.58, which is A, because it's negative. Next, Mason hikes at the speed of 2.1 miles per hour. How many miles will he hike in 1.5 hours? So he goes 2.5 miles per hour, and it's 1.5 hours. So now we just multiply, and our final answer is 3.15 miles, which is C. Next, Tyler is 6.5 feet tall, so a very tall person. What is the best estimate of his height in meters? And a foot is about zero point 0.3 meters. So we know that he's 6.5 feet tall, and every foot is about a meter, which means that we just need to multiply by 0.3, because every foot is about 0.3 meters. And then if we multiply this out, we get 1.95 meters, which is the D choice. This is similar to the one before, except two negatives, so the final answer will be positive, and then you can just work it out on your own. It'll be either C or D. Then this section has us evaluate the expressions with square roots. And if you don't know, a square root means that what number times itself will give you the value. So 4, the square root of 4 is 2, because 2 times 2, 2 times itself is 4. Here we have negative, and then the square root of 49 is 7. So the negative sign is in front, and it gets applied last, which means our final answer is negative 7. Here is the same concept, negative, and then 3 is the square root of 9. So our final answer is negative 3. And you can continue for the rest of these. Some of these numbers are bigger, so they might take a little bit more time. You can use something called prime factorization. For example, prime factorizing number means you break it down into its prime factors, as the name implies. So here we have 100 and 25 are factors of 2,500, right? And 100 is 10 squared, and 25 is 5 squared. So based on that, we know that the square root of 2,500 is actually just 50. You can apply a similar concept to the rest of these, just be careful of the negatives in front. Now on this problem, the area of a square painting is 3,600 square inches. Find the side length of the painting. And as you know, squares have the same length on all sides, and area is just base times height, or in the case of a square, since they're the same, x squared. So plugging in the area that's given, we get something like this. And in order to find x, the opposite of a square is a square root. So we square root both sides. These will cancel, and now we just need to evaluate this. And if you do that, you'll get that x is equal to 60 inches. So it's a 5-foot wide, 5-foot tall painting. Some soccer drills are practiced in a square section of a field. If the section of a field for a soccer drill is 1620 square yards. Find the side length of the section, rounding your answer to the nearest yard. So again, it's a square, and we want x. Just like before, a equals x squared, and then we just need to evaluate the square root of this number. If we are to use prime factorization, we can break this easily into its component prime factors. And then we'll find that this does not square root nicely, which is quite a shame. So we have two 2's and two 9's, which means that this simplifies to 18 rad 5. And at this point, you would just have to use a calculator if you want to answer to the nearest yard. If you put this into a calculator, you get 40.2-ish, and we want to round to the nearest yard, which is rounding down 40 yards. Then this final problem of the worksheet is, what is the side length of the rectangle if one side is 15 inches long and the area is 300 inches squared? So we know one of the sides, the other one is what we're trying to solve for, and we know the area. If you remember, area is based on side or two sides. So we know that is 15x and area is 300. So we just need to divide both sides by 15 to isolate x, and 30 or 300 divided by 15 is simply 20, which is our final answer, 20 inches. Thank you. That's it for today.